evil. Dr. Creepy would like to present to you just a word of friendly warning. He gives absolutely no guarantee of any information provided. And if you attempt any of these ridiculous projects on your own, do so at your own risk. Happy hauntings!
Okay, this is my tutorial on how I finish out the styrofoam corpse head. As you can see, I've painted everything in a base coat of latex flat black paint exterior, just to cover up all the bright white styrofoam. You can see here I started to corpse this thing out with latex and cotton, and you know, I just didn't like the way it was looking, so I peeled it off. That's why it looks like that. I am more of a paper mache guy. I just like what you can do with paper mache. I think I can work it a little better than I can the latex and cotton, which I've used latex and cotton to some degree of success before, but I don't know, for some reason I like the paper mache. So here's how we're going to start. I'm going to start by building up features on the brow and on the nose and on the jaw, just to give it a little more dimension, a little more depth. And I'm going to use something called Sculpt the Mold, which is paper mache paste, but you can't get real fine detail out of it, so it's perfect for this because you're going to cover it all with whatever medium you are corpsing out your head with. Okay, so I have mixed my Sculpt the Mold, and what it is 2 parts Sculpt the Mold to 1 part water. Now, like I said, this becomes a paper mache paste or clay, and it's not great for detail work, but it is good for building up surfaces. And I think what a lot of people use this for is model trains, landscaping for model trains, that sort of stuff. And here I am just going to build up my brow. And the good thing about this is when it does dry, it dries rock hard and you can sand it. So you can get some detail out of it, but it's not good for finish work at all. It's a good thing to keep some water handy to keep your finger wet. And again, I just use this to get a little more bulk to my skull. It's something you can't get. It's more difficult to try to carve it out of the styrofoam than it is just going ahead and trying to build it up with something like this paste I'm using. And another good thing about this Sculpt the Mold is it is cheap. I think maybe $5-6 a bag. You should be able to find it in your local craft or art store. If not, I know you can get it online. Alright, and that's basically it for building up features, and that's, like I said, it's very good for getting depth. I really like the sunken eye holes, the eye sockets on skulls and corpses, so that helps that a lot. And this stuff's really cheap. Sculpt the Mold.
Okay, first step is I'm mixing the paper mache paste. It's just glue and water. I don't really measure it, I just make it kind of a melted milkshake consistency. Here all I'm doing is painting the paste onto the skull and then laying paper towels over it. I like this technique just because I can push the paper towels around with the brush and get a nice texture in the skin. And again, this is all a matter of painting the paper mache paste on, putting your paper towel on, and then repeating the step over and over again, several layers. I think I ended up with 5 layers on this project. You'll see here there's a line where the 2 pieces of paper towel meet. That doesn't become an issue because you move the paper towel around enough to where you can't see the line. And this here is just close up of the forehead to show you the way I texture the paper towel, which I'm sure you guys all already know this, so I'm probably wasting my time. Now I know a lot of paper mache haunters don't like to use the embossed paper towels, but I've never really had a problem with the embossed paper towels. Usually I use enough texturing and enough glue to get rid of most of the embossment, and under the right light you can't really tell it's there. So on this guy I decided I wanted an eyelid, so what I did was I took some paper towel and I wadded it up and put it in my paper mache mix. And then I shoved it in the eye socket, laid more paper towel over top of that, then used a sculpting tool to cut a slit in that. And then I laid more paper mache down, and more paper towel down. And I just kind of made a rudimentary eyelid shape. And this effect, it actually turned out really well. I'm really pleased with the end result. The techniques I'm using for painting are all techniques I've learned from haunters over the years. The first thing I did, obviously, was laid down a layer of black latex paint over everything. I also sealed it with polyurethane before, because this may or may not go outside. I haven't decided yet, but not just in case. I want to keep the weather out. And I think, personally, the base layer of black latex paint before you start painting really brings out dimension in your project. And here I'm just wiping the brown paint down with paper towels to make the ridges, the higher parts of the skull, kind of pop. Here I'm just dry brushing the lighter shade of brown over the higher ridges of the skull, which is going to make the wrinkles stand out. Okay, and here I've moved on to another color. I believe it's a dark yellow, but it really starts to bring the detail to the surface. And it's just cheap acrylic paint that I get at a craft store or a Walmart or wherever. And here I've moved on to blue paint, a technique I learned from Brad Goodspeed again on his Making Skulls tutorial, to use unusual colors, blues, yellows, greens, purples, and it might sound strange, but it really brings the detail out, and it looks good. It looks really good. It may be hard to tell here, but it ends up looking really cool. And again, I'm just dry brushing, which you guys all know. Get as little paint as possible on your brush and just kind of go over everything lightly. And here I've moved on to green, and I'm putting on as little as possible. I usually use my green in the higher parts, like the cheekbones and the eyebrows. I don't know why, I just think it gives a cool moldy look. And there you have it, guys. That's the end of the tutorial. Hopefully I taught you something you didn't already know. Now, hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and feel free to link videos to let me know what you did. Once again, this is Dr. Creepy saying, stay twisted and sleep with the lights on.
Okay.